天要讲什么故事啊
？Angelina's Christmas。
对，我们今天要讲的就是 Angelina's Christmas。请问啊，谁是 Angelina？
那是老师。
这一只小老鼠，它在做什么啊？它在雪地中跳舞哎，下雪了，所以是什么季节？是冬天哦。冬天会想到什么节日？就是圣诞节。我们之前看过很多 Angelina 的绘本，很喜欢她，因为她很会跳舞，对不对？那我们今天要来看她跟圣诞节有关的绘本 Angelina's Christmas。这边有好多银白色的雪花，一点一点亮亮的，很美哦。这里有好多小老鼠舞者哦，它是哪一只？这只是 Angelina， 哇，你一眼就认出来了。他们手上都拿到好漂亮的花朵，正在跳舞。
是一样的，我认不出来哪一个是哪一个。那个才是 Angelina。
这是 Angelina， 还有这个圣诞鼠爷爷，对不对？很可爱。Christmas was coming, and everyone at Angelina's school was working hard to prepare for the Christmas show. Angelina and the other children stayed after their lessons to rehearse and help decorate the hall. When Angelina left school, it was already dark outside. Large snowflakes were falling, and Angelina was so excited that she danced along the pavement. 所以她好开心哦，圣诞节快到了，对。The cottages in the village look warm and welcoming, with holly wreaths on the doors and Christmas lights shining in all the windows. But the very last cottage was cold and dark. Angelina peeped in the window and saw an old man huddled by a tiny fire. 这是谁呀？好像是他的邻居，是不是住在这个小镇上的一个老鼠爷爷？他怎么孤独的一个人呢？ Angelina ran the rest of the way home and found her mother and little cousin Henry in the kitchen. She asked her mother about the man who lived all alone in the cottage. Oh, that's Mr. Bell, her mother replied. He used to be the village postman, but he's too old to work now. Angelina decided that she wanted to make a Christmas surprise for Mr. Bell, so Mrs. Mousling gave her some dough to make cookies shaped like stars, bells, and trees. 所以 Angelina 就跟我们前几天读的好几本绘本一样，她想要付出，她想要给予，对不对？圣诞节不是只是收到圣诞老公公的礼物，还有你要关心别人，也要送礼物出去，所以她在准备。Henry had a piece of dough too, and he made a nice big Santa Claus cookie. Look, he said proudly. Oh, I'm going to see Santa Claus tonight and give him the cookie myself. Oh, Santa Claus only comes very late at night after everyone has gone to bed, Angelina explained. Why don't you leave your special cookie out on a plate for him? Henry started to cry. No, he shouted. I want to see Santa Claus. I want to see Santa Claus. Don't be such a crybaby, Henry, Angelina scolded. But Henry wouldn't stop crying. The next afternoon, Angelina and her mother packed a basket with the cookies, minced pies, and fruit for Mr. Bell. Don't you want to help Angelina take the presents to Mr. Bell? Asked Mrs. Mousling, but Henry only shook his head. Then Angelina and her father went out to find a Christmas tree for Mr. Bell. Henry followed Angelina and Mr. Mousling all the way to Mr. Bell's cottage, but he still wouldn't speak to them. The old postman was amazed and delighted to see his visitors. He invited Angelina and her father inside, and then he noticed Henry standing alone in the snow. Come in, my friend, said Mr. Bell with a smile, and he picked Henry up and brought him in near the fire. Mr. Bell's eyes were bright and twinkling. Wait here a moment, he said, and disappeared up the stairs. Then he came down looking just like Santa Claus. 哇，他就换衣服哎，他变成圣诞鼠爷爷了，对不对？Oh, this is the red costume I wore once when Santa Claus needed someone to take his place at the village Christmas party, said Mr. Bell with a chuckle, and he sat down with Henry on his knee. While Mr. Mousling made tea and Angelina decorated the tree, Henry listened to Mr. Bell's stories. I used to go out on my bicycle, no matter what the weather was like, to deliver presents to all the children in the countryside. One year, there was a terrible snowstorm, and all the roads were covered with snow. I had to deliver the toys on a sled, and if I hadn't glimpsed the village lights blinking in the distance, I would have been lost out in the storm. Henry listened with wide eyes. When it was time to go, Henry reached into his pocket. I made this for someone special, he said, and I would like to give it to you. Out of his pocket, he took his big Santa Claus cookie and gave it to Mr. Bell. Oh, this is the best Christmas surprise I've had for many years, said Mr. Bell, thanking Henry and Angelina for their presents. Angelina said she wished Mr. Bell would come to her school show in his Santa Claus costume. That would be a pleasure, he said, smiling. Wow, 圣诞节的那个表演耶。Mr. Bell kept his promise. He came to the Christmas show in his red costume and watched Angelina and her friends dressed as sugar plum fairies dancing the nutcracker. 所以 Mr. Bell 在哪里？我们先找到 Mr. Bell。Mr. Bell 你觉得哪一个是 Mr. Bell？ 对，就是这个戴着红帽子、穿圣诞老人装束的。哪一个是 Nutcracker？ 这 Nutcracker 是胡桃钳呐，它是一个故事，你不记得了吗？我们去年读过几本跟 Nutcracker 有关的，所以 Angelina 他们那一年的那个圣诞表演是表演 Nutcracker， 胡桃钳。他就是有一个士兵，你记不记得那个故事？然后跟鼠王大战。Later, all the children gathered round Mr. Bell, and Henry felt proud as Mr. Bell handed out the Christmas presents and entertained everyone with stories about his adventures as a postman. Mr. Bell was never lonely at Christmas again because every year he was invited to come to Angelina's school show dressed as Santa Claus. 所以从今往后呢，他就再也不孤单了。所以如果你看到孤独的老人，你可以伸出援手帮助他，特别是在这种温馨的节日，他会想念他的家人，对不对？他可能没有家人陪伴他，我们可以帮助他。好啦，这本就是 Angelina's Christmas， 我觉得 Angelina 很棒，她很值得鼓励，她把爱心传递出去，照顾需要帮助的老人，让圣诞节意义非凡。
我加油豆啊！
The end。